discovered a lovely hilly local park, St Norbert's Park. Not strictly part of my series exploring streets with names that make them sound like they are Christian pilgrimage routes, but the closest I can get during quarantine. St Norbert, or Norbert of Xanten, was born into a posh family in the Rhineland in the 11th century. His family got him the well-paid job of chanting prayers, but he paid someone else to take his place while he went and got himself a better paid role as chaplain to the king over in Cologne. He managed to dodge being actually ordained into the priesthood and turned down a job as bishop, instead living the high life at court. One day he was riding across country and suddenly a storm gathered. Lightning struck his horse's hooves and he was thrown to the ground. He lay unconscious in the wind and the rain. When he came to, he heard God tell him to turn from evil and do good. So he gave up his luxurious place at court and returned to Xanten, presumably to resume some of his chanting duties he'd fobbed off on someone else all those years earlier. He gave the wealth he had accrued to the church and took up asceticism, giving up anything that could be seen as a comfort or pleasure. He was so extreme in this that when he took up itinerant preaching, he insisted on walking barefoot through the snow and ice. His companions on the journey, doing the same, died from exposure. This won over the clergy, who had previously thought him a hypocrite. He founded a religious order, the Norbertines, who lived in mud huts around their chapel. When numbers of his followers increased, they built a more standard church and a monastery and gave up living in the huts. A monastery needs relics, and a dream revealed to St Norbert the hidden graves of a number of saints, including St Ursula and her holy virgins, and St Geron, the golden saint, a soldier who was martyred for refusing to make sacrifice to the pagan gods to ensure his platoon's victory. The Pope made Norbert Archbishop, and he began enforcing his strict asceticism across all the religious houses in his jurisdiction, which led to a number of assassination attempts against him. When he did die, presumably of natural causes, there was a fight over who got to bury his body in their church, Magdeburg Cathedral or the Norbertine Abbey. The Abbey won, but 500 years later he was dug up and moved to the Abbey of Strahov in Prague, where there was a large Norbertine seminary, and where he is apparently on display in a glass-fronted tomb, although I'm sorry to say I can't find any pictures of this on the internet.